Hi, welcome back. We're going to be working with doing some queries using the student database schema that we have right here on screen. We're going to use this to act some queries and use the idea of joins. Again, the student schema is from the Oracle by example by the research text, and so you can use this to find some really cool stuff. It's a great example of how you can work with Oracle databases and how you can practice running queries. We're going to practice today working with the idea of doing multi-table joins. We're going to grab information from that. And so we're going to be working with this. And so if you take a look at the lovely schema right here, you can see that we have the relationships that exist between the tables, and they're highlighted right here by the color. And so you can see that the zip as a foreign key over here to the zip code table, and they have the actual relationship or constraint of stu zip fk. So you have that relationship right there. And these relationships have a nice little visual thing, and I highly encourage that you use a schema or an ER diagram to actually help keep track of what you're working with whenever you're working on database queries. Even if you're doing this in an actual physical like job type of option, get something that you can use to visualize this and help prepare and write your diagrams out in advance. It'll make life a lot better. But we're going to look specifically at making a join between the tables, because most of the time you're not actually just retrieving information from a single table. That is less than 0.01%, I'd say, of all the database work I've done outside of class. And so we definitely want to make sure we know how to join tables and use that with there. So we're going to work with using a couple of simple joins right here. We're going to do a couple multi-table joins, and we're going to start off with a really simple one. We're going to make a join right here between the student table and the enrollment table. And so we have right here, we have the student to enrollment table. So we have this lovely green bar that's connecting them. And so it's the idea of the student ID is a foreign key up here on enrollment, and it's the primary key on the student table. And again, when we're doing a join, we want to make sure that we keep in mind that when we do a proper join, we're using the foreign key, primary key relationship. That path that we're using is how we're going to build that. Now, the direction on that path doesn't matter. I can go from enrollment to student or student to enrollment as long as I have that path happening. I can even do a star type pattern if I say, for example, I wanted to work from enrollment to grade to student to section. That's totally fine. Or I can go like this, boom, boom, boom. It's all good. As long as I have and follow the path of those primary and foreign keys, the order or direction I do those primary key, foreign key paths doesn't really matter. Now that's what we're going to work with on that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a query right here, and we want to make it so we can get these students' zip code and phone number, and we also want to make sure that we can get their final grade, because hey, that's information we really want to do. And so we have obviously right here we have their final grade that exists inside enrollment, and we have their zip and phone that exist over here inside student. And this is purposely because this is information we don't need for an assignment, but we can show how we can actually get the information out of the tables and work from there. And so what we need to do, the first part we have to do is we want to go ahead, and I like to go and build with my select my from and join parts first. And so I have right here my from student stu and join enrollment ENR. And so I'm using an alias right here to do this. So I have a reference right here so I can talk to student with STU, and I'm going to join that with enrollment ENR. And so that's what I'm going to start off with. And the next part I'm going to do is where I'm going to do that on clause, how I make that match. And the on clause is where I do that path between the primary key to foreign key, and the order again doesn't matter because the equal sign in SQL or Squirrel Land, it works just like it does in math line. As long as the left hand side is the same as the right hand side, it doesn't matter the order we're operating them on. So let's go ahead and put that in there, and we'll have enr.studentID equals stu.studentID. And now we've got that right there. So now I want to actually get that information. That's going to go up here in the select clause. And again, remember the select clause actually gets executed one of the last things. It's going to be the from and join first, then we have our on to actually take that down, and then we do the select afterward. And we're going to use the alias so we can write this down a little bit faster. So we have stu.zip, comma, and then we have stu.phone, comma, and finally enr.finalgrade. And so we're retrieving the student's zip and phone and their final grade, and we're going to go from that from the student table to the enrollment table, and we're going to grab that information. We'll go ahead and play that right here, and we have 226 rows selected from that. So I have their lovely zip, their phone number, and their final grade. And if you look at this, my final grade column is empty on almost everything. This is so amazing. And so even if there's nothing inside that, when I use a query, it's going to give that right there. And so as you can see, oh, there's a final grade right there with 92. So we have one student of the 226 that has a grade, but we have that information right there. So we're able to grab that information from the join on the enrollment table to the student table. And again, when we do a join between tables, we identify the tables in the from and then the join. We do one table per clause. So the from gets our first table, the join gets our second, and in the on, we do the primary key, foreign key path. And so that's how we can do a really quick and simple two-table join using this. And again, that's where we look at the idea of the path right here between the enrollment table and the student table. We identify the path between it. We look for that primary key, foreign key relationship, and we use that information to make that happen. And that's the process we do to do a quick little two-table join inside a database. Thanks again. Cheers. Have a great day. We'll see you next time. Bye.